Hey, this is Web Suspect, and the title of this video is going to be Help. My system doesn't meet the requirements needed to run this software. So I was contacted this morning, and I have this project as part of AppleMothership.tech where I can help people with technical problems, and people can contact me as part of AppleMothership.com. So we're going to go through the process of what a software specialist does and trying to meet requirements to run software on your computer. So you have this computer, and let's say, for example, you're going to get Skype, and you go to the download section and you get Skype, and it doesn't run. You get an error message that says, sorry, your system doesn't meet the minimum specified requirements to run the software. So on most of these products, there's a page you can go to, and it will show you the required specifications that you need to run the software. Now, sometimes these will just be what you need to run the operating system. So we'll go through that also. For Skype, you need to run at least a 1 gigahertz processor, 512 megabytes of memory, and of course, you're going to need some room to install the software on your hard drive. So what does that mean? How does that fit into, how does software and hardware fit together into a picture? And this doesn't matter if you're running an Apple system or PC, although I'm doing this with PCs, and the process of discovering what your hardware is a little bit different. So for Windows, we're going to go to the Start button. I always call this little button down here the Start button. We're going to click on that, and you can go through here and you can find the control panel, which is right here. Now, if you can't find the control button, the control panel button, you can go down here to Katana and you can type control panel and click on that, and that will also bring you to the control panel. You'll have a bunch of stuff up here, hardware, sound, programs. If you click on System and Security, and there'll be a button here for System. You click on that, and this will be your system requirements. Okay, so here, you'll have to do this for your own computer, but here we're running AMD A10 custom design system with 10 compute cores, 6 video cores, and 4 compute cores with 16 gigabytes of memory. So what can you do? Let's say, for example, that you don't have enough memory. Let's say you have 256 megabytes and you need 512. And you have, let's say, 2 slots. If you know what kind of memory computer has, what kind of random access memory, let's say it's DDR RAM or DDR2. Let's say it's DDR RAM 333 megahertz. And your motherboard will take, I'm just going to say 1 gigabyte or 2 gigabytes. You'll want to add the most amount of memory that will fit into your motherboard and run. So whether or not that memory fits in your computer or will work, is dependent on your hardware architecture for your motherboard. Now, if you're not sure, you can find somebody who's a qualified tech or a friend to help you go through the motherboard. Sometimes you'll have slots open. So for example, on this board, I have 2 slots filled and 2 slots open. I could add another 16 gigabytes of memory. But in this case, we're just going to talk about what we need to run the system, which is 512. We're also going to look at the requirements necessary to run Windows 7 and Windows XP. Now, the older that your operating system gets, the less memory that you need to run the operating system. So, like for example, Skype will run on all of these operating systems for Windows. It will run on Windows XP. Now, it doesn't say it'll run on Windows 98 or, it'll run on Vista. So the older your operating system is, the less memory you need. So one possibility is if you're struggling with hardware, you can roll back your operating system. So let's say you're running Windows 10. That you want Windows 10, and I'm going to say that you need 2 gigabytes to run Windows 10, but the system's not going to perform well. You can go and you can try and run Vista or Windows XP. Now those systems might not work well with your hard drive. If you're running, like, say, an SATA hard drive, those systems might want to work with a parallel hard drive. Or you might need a driver. And that's sort of kind of the basics. Any software you can imagine. I like to run World of Warcraft, so I'm going to Google just to show you how to go through the process on your own. System requirements, World of Warcraft. It seems like World of Warcraft is just always very demanding. Like if I have a laptop and it's not going to run well with, say, a 2 cores and 2 gigabytes of memory, you're just not going to have a good game experience with World of Warcraft. And it says here you need at least 2 cores and we want a little bit more details here. A GT 440 video card. Okay, so they give you 2 levels of reference here. One is minimum and one is recommended. Sometimes you can also upgrade your CPU. So as far as I could read this in between the lines, we're looking at maybe 4 cores or more for World of Warcraft and 4 gigabytes of RAM. So two is what's needed. They're saying 4 will run a little bit better. I would say 8 or 16. You'll get some improvement in frame rates between 8 and 16. It might be 5 or 10 frames. And they also give you some recommendations for video. You can use a GT 440 video card or a Radeon 5000 series, and they're saying if you want a little bit better, you can use a GTX 750 or a Radeon 260. But that's just if you want to play games. And sometimes you'll have a PCI 16 slot available, and if you occupy that with a video card, you'll get a little bit more of improvement with your system. Again, you'll have to check and see, is it going to take a PCI card or some other form of video card, like the older format was AGP. And so I hope that was helpful, and I'll see if I can play this message. The message was pretty good.
When I was installing the Skype app, it said that
It's just playing over the headphones, so